Hi everybody, my name is Jesus Florido. I'm an LA-based violinist, an electric violinist and producer and educator, and also a 3D Various endorsee. And it's my privilege to play such a wonderful instrument, and in all the variety of styles I do. I've made a career out of being a real multi-style violinist, classically trained. I'm also an improviser and an electronic musician, and this instrument has enhanced my capabilities greatly. So I'm very happy to be in this space right now. So I play several instruments. I mean, this is not my only one. This is one of my favorites. But as you see, it's the 7th string. I claim that the first one that 3D Various made, the first 7th string. And my reason to use multi-strings or lower extended range violins, it started actually in the early 90s when I saw a bluegrass violinist playing a 5-string violin. And I went like, wow, that means I don't have to bring my viola, because I will show up to gigs with a violin and a viola. And I said, well, if I can only bring one instrument, that was the original idea. And after started playing, I saw my first 6-string and I went like, oh my God, cello range. And that brought my playing to a whole different world that was not there. And I do use all strings. I will write music specifically for 7 strings. So this is just, for me, has been like the top 7-string instrument I've ever played. And the reason was that it gave me more capabilities as a player, sonically, harmonically. Could do bass lines. I could really utilize those bottom strings, the lower strings, as drones. I do a lot of world music, Indian music and Arabic music, and it's fantastic for that. So once you taste that and you see all the capabilities that you can have on your range, you never go back. I only use 4 strings to play classical music, which I still do. And I love it. It doesn't mean that I don't, but I only use 4 strings for classical music. Everything else, from Latin to rock and roll to electronic music, I use 6 and 7, and have a couple other 5 acoustics as well. But yeah, more strings, more range, more capabilities, more sonic palettes to choose from and to offer bands when I'm playing with them. So one of my favorite things about electric instruments is the effects. You know, just because it's something that an acoustic violin cannot give you. And that, I have to say, my favorite is tie, because my 2 favorites are delay and wah. Because are things that mostly, as I started, I got my first electric violin in the 80s. And I had a Barkasberry with a crybaby wah and a crate 10-watt amp. I mean, that was it. And I was 14 years old, and it was amazing. You know, so wah is something that is very important to me. I have learned and mastered the art of wah in the sense that it's just not back and forth, pushing, but really stylistically digging in and doing the flow that goes with the melody and with the song. I have gone through a whole range of effects in my long career. I started with, obviously, like everybody, with a million stump boxes. You know, my pedal board was huge. In this last 15 years or 20 years or so, I've been going more towards a multi-effect pedals, just because in the sense of touring, I toured a lot, and it's less chance of breakage. Less things can go wrong. Instead of trying to find one stump box that went bad on the chain, you know, I can, you know, that doesn't happen with the stump box. And for many years, I used a GT Pro, a Boss GT Pro, which is really terrific. And lately, this past 6 years or so, I'm a full Helix guy. I have a full floor pedal. I have the HX LT, you know, the stump box. Yeah, those are the main reason for multi-effect pedals is less problems on the road. And that is a crucial part because I don't have to spend time fixing things on the fly on the stage. Well, musical background. Well, I started violin when I was 8. 7 or 8, something, I forgot, somewhere there. And very early on, I actually, I was probably like 11 years old when I discovered Stefan Grappelli and Jean-Luc Ponty. And they immediately became influences to me. You know, once I saw Jean-Luc Ponty playing an electric violin, I wanted one. And that's how I got my first Barkus Berry in 1984. It's when I bought my first electric Barkus Berry, a 4-string purple. Anyway, and obviously Jean-Luc has been an amazing influence and a mentor. Stylistically speaking, I think Jerry Goodman has been more of an influence to me than anybody, just because it fits more my style. And so he's been an amazing influence in me and in my playing and the way I approach the instrument in general. That was a very important part of my upbringing. But I was listening to, I tell people music is like food. You don't eat the same food every day. So music, that's what I play so many different styles because I just enjoy the variety and I enjoy the gifts that each type of music gives me. You know, the improvisation of jazz or Arabic music and Indian music and the flavor of Latin music, you know, and the beauty of classical music as well, you know. So all those are huge influences in me and really determine the reason I play. So, my musical style. I laugh every time people ask me that because it changes. Depends when you ask. Like I said, anything improvisational is very important. To me, improvisation is a true form of expression, of language. So my approach to improvisation is very vocal, more than jazz-based, and also more based in world music, you know. So I have, like I've mentioned before, a lot of Indian influence, a lot of Arabic influence, and even Latin American influence. There's a lot of improvisation in Latin music, and that became kind of a language to me. So when I'm improvising, my type of improvisation is I'm trying to add to the story. I'm trying to add instead of just look at me, I'm so good, you know. To me, it's not about that. I don't need to go on the stage and prove to people how good I am. I am on the stage to make people feel good and to have a really good time and to say, well, that was pretty, or that was amazing, but not to impress in the sense like I'm gonna blow a million notes. I actually did. I went through that stage when I was younger. And one of the things I always say is the older I get, the less notes I play. And it's just because I want to tell you a story, you know. It relates to the tune that I'm playing, but my language of improvisation is that. And one thing I advise, especially to young players, is find your voice. Find what moves you. Start there. Don't try to match anything or anybody or some horn player or some other violins. No. Take the influence. Yes, absolutely. You have to listen to everything. Also, very important, listen to everything. Everything. The good and the bad. You can learn from bad stuff too, what not to do. But in general, it's just that. It's find music that moves you. You know, so it's honest. When you go on the stage and you play honest music, the people will react. People will react and they'll love it and they'll appreciate it as well. You know, so all those things are valid and very, very important. It's funny with all the questions. Advice and reflections. What advice you give? So as I was saying, my advice is find what moves you. My style of playing changes constantly. I'm a lifelong learner, and you have to be one as well. If you want to succeed in this business, you need to be a lifelong learner. Experiment, find, learn, listen. I'm constantly looking for stuff, either YouTube or iTunes or whatever playlist I have on. I'm making notes. I have huge playlists of things to revisit, things to explore, and I call them my learning folder. I have on my Apple Music, I have a learning folder, tunes there that I need to learn or learn more about. And like any artist, I have my periods. I have a period, when I was mostly prog rock. I have another period where I was very swing, like a lot of Gravelli stuff, gypsy jazz. I've went through that period as well. I went through my salsa period where I only play with salsa bands. I went through my metal, Indian music. I mean, I've been around a long time. But it's been mostly about always finding my voice. Why do you do this for? You have to do it for yourself. You have to do it for yourself. If you're a new player, a young player that is just starting your career, my most important piece of advice is find your voice. Don't imitate. Don't try to please the crowd because this is what's trending. If you're doing what you're trending, you're done. Because after it's done trending, then you're nothing. So be true to yourself. I actually go and think about this, whatever is trending, that's not what I'm doing. I actually define the grain, go against the grain. That's been my staple of my career from day one. I don't do that. I just don't. It's costing me sometimes, but also it's giving me more longevity because through the years, I'm still relevant. Well, I like to think so since I keep getting calls. So I always advise young players to look at having a long career instead of your 5 minutes of fame because you got 10,000 likes or something. And really doesn't give you any money, which is also a good piece of advice. Is look at your work as a business. It's called the music business. So make sure that you just don't base your entire life on playing covers. As long as I don't have anything against playing covers, but write some stuff. Show me who you are. Just showing me that you can copy a guitar solo from a Led Zeppelin song doesn't say much to me. And I know these are tough words, but it's true words. That doesn't show me just that you can practice and learn something. Show me who you are. Show me what you wrote. What kind of sounds you found on your electric violin. That's what speaks to me when I'm looking at young players, and I'm listening to a lot of you. So I'm always looking for that, for an identity. Have an identity. Be yourself, and then you will have a long career. Don't follow trends. Please, 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 please do not follow trends. Trends don't take you anywhere. It doesn't make you any money either. Besides a few people saying, oh, you're cool. Oh, that's cool. But you cannot pay your rent with that. So find your true voice and you'll find a true business. So it's funny I read this question about what's on your on your phone lock screen. And I'll show you right now. This is my phone. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And as I'm reading through these questions, my favorite season is all of the seasons. I love having seasons. I love the change. I love the clothes change. In the winter you wear all your jackets and your things. In the summer you wear your flip flops. And being a Californian, since I lived here most of my life, I saw this question once, is how Californian are you? And you measure that by how many pairs of flip-flops do you have. So I currently own 7 flip-flops. It depends. Sometimes they're a little fancier, sometimes they're leather. Sometimes you have your crappy ones that you use for the beach. But yeah, in California, we measure how Californian you are by how many pairs of flip-flops you own. And so one of my favorite things outside music, I mean, the other things that I do besides music, is photography. I'm actually a decent photographer. I love the camera. I love to do creative things, obviously, and I needed to find an outlet outside music. I do a lot of things around music, but I needed to find one outside. And one of my favorite things is photography, and as pastime, actually, nature. Anything, hiking, being on the beach, being on the mountain, are things that are actually help me clear my mind. As you probably know, this is a very intense business, especially if you're doing it right. You have that intensity is there. You need to find ways to take care of yourself and find some mindfulness and take care of yourself. So for me, it's very important, meditation, something I've been practicing for many years. And then the other part is finding time for yourself, taking care of yourself so you can have the energy to give to the audience and to present yourself out there, which takes a lot, as you probably know. So, but if you're not take care of yourself, there's nothing. And I think is something very important that I encourage everybody is to practice mindfulness and some meditation and some yoga and some things that will make you breathe out, so you can dig in and go practice. Anyway, as for my last words of my last thoughts for you is something I've been saying all along in this interview was be yourself. Find yourself, define yourself, be true to yourself. And if you do that, you will have a very long career and you will enjoy it as well. And do not forget, you must pay it forward. I try to do that constantly when people approach me and ask me questions, even this interview. All I'm trying to do is pay it forward, like give you a little bit of words of wisdom of being in this business for 45 years. Is the enjoyment. Music has given me so much. It's given me my life, so I want to give some of that back. So not back, but forward to the next younger person. So don't forget that. Be kind to each other.